everybody. Okay, welcome to session 2 of our gut health series. I'm glad you guys joined again. Before we get into anything, I'm going to start, as I always do, with my disclaimer. In this video, I do not claim that any strategy, plan, product can cure, prevent, or heal any disease or illness. This video should not replace a medical consultation or care. In fact, it is advised that you seek the advice of your medical doctor before adjusting, changing, or beginning any new healthcare plan or taking any new supplements. None of the products that I mention in this video or any of the videos have been approved by the FDA. So, okay, now that that is out of the way. So, gut health session number 2. So, last time was basically just my intro into the series. I talked about what my goals were, what you can expect, that sort of thing. This time I'm going to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty. But I want to preface this by saying, this series is very involved and very detailed, primarily because the topic of gut health is so vast and so expansive. So we're going to get into a lot of different aspects in regards to gut health. Because of this, you might initially be inclined to say, look at the titles of the videos or whatever and say, well, that one I don't think that one applies to me. I'm not going to watch that one. I'm not going to watch that one, but I will watch this one. I encourage you not to do that because chances are you don't know for certain that that doesn't apply to you. The body is one, okay? Everything is interconnected within it. Everything is related. I think in modern medicine we have compartmentalized this to where we go and see specialists for this and this, but everything is related and everything is connected. One imbalance or one disorder, one deficiency can set off this like domino effect in the body. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want you to be focused too much on this last domino, which would be your symptom or your pain or your discomfort, and assume that that first domino is irrelevant to you, or the first couple dominoes would be irrelevant to you, because maybe those first few dominoes are a deficiency, a toxicity, some type of bacterial overgrowth that actually is one of the root causes of the last domino, the symptom that you're feeling. So I don't want you to assume by reading the titles of these videos that, oh, that one doesn't apply to me, I'm not going to watch it. I encourage you to watch all of the videos because you just never know. And that's my thing. That's what I do here is I want you to get to the root cause and I want you to see the whole big picture and the whole scope. And if nothing else, you're getting free education, right? And you're also being entered in to a drawing for a free giveaway. So if nothing else, there's that. Plus, you never know who you're going to come in contact with, or if somebody in your family is suffering with something that I'm going to talk about in a video, or one of your kids, a spouse, a sister, a friend. Knowledge is power, like I said last time. So that being said, we're going to start and move into the nitty-gritty. I want to kind of just get into the actual digestive system process. I want to kind of go over it. Now, I know a lot of you probably already understand the digestive system process, but I'll go through it quickly because as doing this as a group thing, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page, because I will reference later in other videos different parts of different system of the digestive system. So I want to make sure we're on the same page and that everybody's familiar with what I'm talking about. So just real quickly, so the digestive system process, let's go through it part by part. As we know, it starts in the mouth, okay? When you take a bite, you chew food, and as you're chewing, your teeth break it down into smaller parts. We know this. And the saliva actually has enzymes in it to break it down further and to make it more usable for the body. So digestion actually starts in the mouth. It starts with the saliva. Then it goes from there to the throat, into the esophagus, which kind of through contractions, it kind of pushes it then into the stomach. Now the stomach is a kind of like a holding tank. It has a very muscular wall, and it's basically like a mixer and a grinder for the food. And it secretes acid in there and some very powerful enzymes to kind of continue breaking down the food, further breaking it down. It becomes like a liquid or a paste even. And then from there, it goes through into the small intestine. And the small intestine is like a long coil, like a long tube. It's actually like 18 to 20 feet long if you were to like uncoil it and lay it out flat. But here, you know, the small intestine continues to break the food down even further. This time it uses more enzymes from like the pancreas, and it also uses bile that comes from the liver. Actually, it's stored in the gallbladder, but it originally comes from the liver. And the bile breaks down fats as well as it cleanses the blood. So a lot of happens here as well. But also here in the small intestine, I mean, this is a very crucial part of the digestive system process, because here is where most of the nutrients are extracted and absorbed into the body. So the food passes through and the nutrients are pulled out, and they're kind of, they seep through the wall of the intestine into the blood vessels, and from there they're carried into the liver, and then they're kind of distributed throughout the body. So this is a very, very crucial and important step, because they're the nutrients that the body needs. Once all of the nutrients have been extracted, absorbed, and taken out, whatever's left, that waste, then moves on into the large intestine or the colon, and it's kind of through a series of contractions, it's kind of pushed through the colon over the course of like 36 hours it takes to get all the way through the colon. And where after that time, a stool is then eliminated in a bowel movement. So that's kind of the, you know, top to bottom, I guess, process of the digestive system. A lot of you, like I said, probably already knew a lot of that, but I wanted to kind of give you that big picture, because we need to see how detailed and involved it is, and how many different steps that there really are in this process, because it kind of gives us a glimpse of how very important it is, how important the digestive system process is. I mean, here's where our body gets everything it needs. It gets all its nutrients, its fuel, I mean, everything. So it all starts here. True health all starts here. But that's not all. So inside your digestive tract, there's also this like mini ecosystem of bacteria, living organisms, okay? These are good bacteria, a lot of them, but there's 100 trillion bacteria, like 3 pounds worth, that are living inside the intestinal tract, okay? And these, so many that they actually these bacteria outnumber your human cells by like 10 to 1. So we're actually more bacteria than we are human. But these living organisms inside of the intestinal tract, they have a very specific purpose and a very specific job to do. Now there's different strains and different kinds, and they each have different jobs, different purposes, but they're all very crucial and foundational to good health and to the proper functioning of the body. So what do some of these bacteria, what are some of the jobs that they do? Okay, so we know that they begin the digestive system process in the intestinal tract. They stimulate the process. They fight bad bacteria, funguses, viruses, yeast, that type of thing. They're like fighters. They reduce toxins, and they kind of reduce toxic byproducts from like the digested food as well. They help with the absorption of certain nutrients. They actually make different vitamins like B's and K's that they are produced by these bacteria. They regulate inflammation. Okay, this is so huge for so many people. Not only are some of the digestive disorders that we're going to talk about, not only are they very inflammatory, but there's other inflammation issues too that are very relevant to gut health, arthritis being one of them. These bacteria also produce hormones like estrogen. In fact, all 3 forms of estrogen are produced here, and it's very, very, very important. Even there's a certain bacteria that actually is responsible for removing excess estrogen. So not only is estrogen made here, there's a bacteria that's responsible for taking the excess out. So if you're not making enough of that bacteria, then you're going to have too much estrogen, and then here we come into hormone imbalances. But other hormones are made there as well. These bacteria, they also produce neurotransmitters for the brain, neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is your happy hormone, dopamine, that regulates the control centers in your brain that kind of tell your body, your brain, when you're satisfied. So these are very, very important things. And also more than 70% of your immune system is actually located in the gut here in this microbiome. So we're talking about some very, very important things that this digestive system, this gut does. So now I think we're starting to kind of see, when I said last time about all disease begins in the gut, all health starts in the gut. Now we're starting to kind of see how this could be possible, because it does affect so many different things. And this is why I said this is probably one of the most, important health coaching series I'm ever going to do, is because everything we're just talking about. So if the gut is responsible for all this, we can see how detrimental it can be when something goes wrong, when something's damaged, when something is not right. And because of this, I'm going to talk about this. There's going to be kind of this pattern in the talks, the series. I'm going to first talk about the things that can go wrong, the things that can damage it, the digestive system process, different parts, the stomach, the intestines, the colon, that type of thing. We're going to talk about damage first. Then I'm going to talk about things that help. And there's going to be a series of several different videos on each, but the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to make sure you understand that there's things that help too, because, it's not enough to just stop damaging the digestive system. It's not enough to just eliminate the things that are damaging, because the reality is the damage is already done. So we need to work in additional things, helpful things, friendly things that are going to encourage healing and encourage the reversal of that damage. So it's actually a two-step process. And I don't want you to watch a few of them and say, okay, I'm going to stop doing these. I want you to watch all of them and really introduce some of the healthy ways. Let's start at the top, I guess, in the mouth. So we said that all digestion, the digestive process, starts in the mouth. So this is probably one of the most overlooked parts of the digestive process, but it's actually very important and very crucial as well. There's not an unimportant part here. So your food, when you take a bite, okay, your food starts to be broken down in the mouth with chewing. And chewing your food and the way you chew your food is very crucial, because of not only are your teeth breaking it down into smaller parts, but like I said earlier, saliva is also helping to break it down. And the saliva has other things in it. It has electrolytes and antibacterial compounds, and as well as the enzymes that I mentioned before. So I'm going to talk a lot about enzymes in future videos and how important they are. But there's enzymes in your saliva. Certain enzymes that not only break down starch and turn them into simple sugars so the body can use it, but also to break down fats. And actually, about 30% of digestion takes place or should take place in the mouth. Now, 30%, that's pretty substantial. So what would happen then if you didn't chew your food properly or long enough, or you were a fast eater? A lot of people are quick eaters just because they're in a hurry, or maybe they're very, very hungry, and so they're ravenously eating, and they're not chewing their food thoroughly. This basically, you're starting out the whole digestive process on the wrong foot. I mean, because if that 30% of digestion is supposed to take place in the mouth and it doesn't take place, well, it has to take place somewhere else, and that's, you're basically taxing then and putting more stress on the future parts of the digestive system, where the food's going to go, because they're going to have to make up for that somehow. or there's going to be digestive distress. So, you know, the more you chew, the more saliva is made. And the more saliva that is made means the more enzymes that are present. And the more enzymes that are present means the more nutrients that are going to be absorbed from that food, and the more fuel that is going to be available for the body for energy. So basically, the more you chew, the less is lost, and the more that is retained for the body. Also, if there are larger particles that are not chewed, that pass along into the stomach and then to the small intestine, you know, bacteria then in the intestine is going to have to break that down. And basically what happens is, I mean, it's going to start to petrify, and it's going to lead to gas, bloating, all these very uncomfortable, kind of painful and yucky things. So it's very important to chew thoroughly. Now, the rules for chewing, I know this sounds elementary, but it's very overlooked and not everybody does this. The rule for chewing: well, first take smaller bites, okay? I think a lot of times we take too big of bites. But secondly, chew your food until it's almost liquefied, or at least has completely lost the texture of what it's supposed to be. And then wait to take a drink until you've swallowed all the way. Because when you take a drink with food still in your mouth that's not chewed, you're gonna, like swallowing a pill, you're gonna swallow it. And then, like I said, we have these bigger particles that are harder for the body then to digest. Now, another thing in regards to chewing that can be harmful or detrimental to the digestive process is chewing for no reason. And what do I mean by that? I mean chewing gum, okay? So if chewing, think about this, if chewing starts the release of saliva and enzymes, and it actually even starts the release of stomach acid, because your body is anticipating this food coming through that it's going to need to break down and start to deal with. So if your body starts releasing all these things and there's no food for it to use with these things, then what happens? Well, you then have an excess of stomach acids and enzymes that are there, and that can lead to bloating, burning, etc. But also, you're kind of going to rewire your body, because after a while of chewing gum and chewing and the release without any food, your body is going to, when it does have food, it's not going to make enough enzymes or enough acid, because now it doesn't know, is this gum, is this food, how much do I make, what's, you know, so you're essentially, you have the possibility of rewiring your body and your digestive system in a wrong way, in a bad way, from chewing gum. So I'm not a fan of gum. I'm not a fan of chewing gum for this reason, but also because it's usually like it's full of sugar, and if there's no sugar, low sugar, whatever, then it's full of fake sugar, which is even worse, plus all the chemicals that are in it. I'm not a fan of chewing gum. Okay, so that's my spiel on that. That pretty much sums up session 2. I'm going to stop there because the next part of the digestive system is a little more involved, and I don't want this to go on for too long. I'm trying to be cognizant of your time. So that is, I'm going to end there, but also I want you to comment below. Again, remember, any takeaways, anything you liked or something you learned from this video, and also your challenge for this time. The challenge for this session is going to be chew your food twice as long as you normally would, and be conscious of your chewing. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be really surprised how hard it is to chew your food as long as you're supposed to chew it for optimal digestion. So that's your challenge. It's going to be an interesting one. So you can comment below with anything you liked, anything you learned, or if you can comment after you've done your challenge about your challenge. So that's all for this time. Stay tuned, and we will do session 3 next time. All right. Bye, everybody.